France is located in Europe, bordering Andronia, Belgium, Luxembourg, Germany, Italy, Morocco, Spain, and Switzerland. Because of its location, France has three types of climates, which are continental, Mediterranean, and oceanic. However, most of France's climate is temperate. Northern and western France are mostly low-lying, however they do have mountain ranges such as the French Alps through the country. France's government is similar to that of the United States. However, the Prime Minister and Presidents share executive power. The largest, most well-known city in France is their capital, Paris. Although the first thing many people think of when they think of France is the Eiffel Tower in Paris, it is also home to many hilly countrysides and ocean beaches such as the Bay of Biscay. France is also rich in culture, which is part of the reason climate change has affected them so much. Many people have already seen France's large riots about taxation and what they are willing to do to mitigate climate change. France has tried to work towards cutting back emissions by raising the price of gas to $7 per gallon. However, they've had to lower the price back down, as well as stop other actions that are working towards the mitigation of climate change, because the citizens of France are not willing to pay more and risk their economic well-being, while countries like China, who is currently one of the leaders in carbon emissions, is able to continue releasing emissions without any caps or repercussions until 2030. Even after 2030, all China has pledged to do is try to cut back on emissions, but have not made any permanent proposals or actions as how they are planning on accomplishing this. The problem we often run into as far as climate change negotiations among countries is the fact that no country wants to risk their economic standing if they do not feel that other countries are giving up as much as they are. As I stated before, France is home to a rich culture rooted deep in local tradition, which has been passed down over generations. Because of this, a large part of their national pride comes from traditions such as their strong love for wines and local delicacies. Unfortunately, this is where France is feeling the largest impact of climate change. The climate zones have changed in the past few years, creating more intense heat waves, more precipitation in the northern regions of France, and sudden decrease in the amount of precipitation in the southern regions.
Obviously, all of these changes in the climate have had a negative impact on the crops in France, with the main repercussions being seen in the grape and wine industry. Workers on the vineyards have had to adapt the way they grow grapes from how much sun they receive, the water filtration, and how early picking season is. Even with the farmers changing their methods that they've had for generations, the grapes being grown are starting to taste different depending on the region. This might not seem like a big deal, but for a culture raised around their signature wine, it bothers people if the wine tastes sweeter or more bitter than it had their entire time growing up. The issue with these grapes is not only the change in flavor, but also the reduced longevity due to earlier rotting. Another issue that France has been facing due to climate change is the melting of ice and permafrost in the French Alps. One of the impacts of this is the positive feedback loop created from the decreasing amount of ice. Less ice is causing less albedo, which increases the absorbed heat into the ground, which melts the ice more, creating even less albedo, and so on. Not only is the heat rising, but as the ice and permafrost melt, the broken down rock that is held together by the ice and permafrost start to fall, and can cause major land and rock slides down the French Alps. Since 1990, the French Alps alone have had 150 rock slides.